Welcome to the African News Update on Top Accolade News. The headlines: Chad requests military support for upcoming elections. South Sudan faces uncertainty ahead of 2026 general elections. Fire breaks out at Liberia's parliament. Mozambique government struggles to pay overtime for education and health workers. In politics, Chad requests military support for upcoming elections. Ahead of Chad's parliamentary, local council and regional elections on December 29th, the country's Electoral Commission has called for military assistance to protect election officials and candidates. With over 8.3 million civilians registered to vote and more than 1,000 accredited observers, the election have been marred by violence. Opposition supporters have disrupted rallies and attacked candidates with clubs and iron bars. Despite President Mahamat Idris's assurance of a fair and transparent vote, opposition groups accuse him of attempting to rig the polls and maintain control of parliament. These elections are seen as the final step in a three-year transition period following the death of former President Idris Deby Itno in 2021. Still in politics, South Sudan faces uncertainty ahead of 2026 general election. South Sudan is set to hold its long-delayed general election in December 2026, but concerns loom over whether the country will be ready. Originally scheduled for December 2023, the election was postponed to allow time for a census, a new constitution, and political party registration. Despite the delay, the National Electoral Commission remains hopeful that with political will and a sufficient funding, the election could be successful. However, challenges such as lack of budget and time for key preparatory steps, including the census, raise doubts. United Nations officials warned that mismanaged election could threaten stability, while some citizens question if the election will take place at all. Moving on in politics, fire breaks out at Liberia's parliament. Emergency services in Liberia battled a fire that broke out at the parliament building in Monrovia on Wednesday as the opposition's protest against the removal of Parliament Speaker Konati Kofa stretched into a second day. The cause of the fire remains unconfirmed, but President Joseph Boakai, who visited the scene, condemned the wanton destruction and ordered an investigation. The protests are fueled by accusation of corruption against Kofa, with demonstrators also calling for the president's resignation. Police clashed with protesters on Tuesday, using tear gas and arresting dozens. This marks the second fire at the parliament building in a week, though no link between the incidents have been confirmed. The deadlock over Kofa's potential removal has paralyzed the legislature, delaying critical government functions. Shifting focus to economy, Mozambique government struggles to pay overtime for education and health workers. The Mozambican government has acknowledged its inability to pay education and health professionals for overtime worked in 2023 and 2024 due to financial constraints. During a press conference in Maputo, government spokesperson Filimao Suaze confirmed that the state owes teachers 2.9 billion meticais for the overtime in 2023, while health workers are owed 270 million meticais for the same period. The government has pledged to pay half of the debt by 2025, with the remainder planned for the next year. The backlog of payments has already sparked protests, with teachers boycotting exams in Maputo and refusing to mark them in Beira. You are watching the African News Update on Top Accolade News. Do stay with us. Still to come. Stay with us. In agriculture, Botswana lifts import ban on South African vegetables. In a move to boost trade and food security, the Botswana government has lifted its import ban on South African vegetables in 2 phases. The first phase, already underway, includes the importation of turmeric, sweet potatoes and mushrooms, while the second phase, effective in April, will allow vegetables like onions, tomatoes and potatoes. The ban imposed earlier this year to protect local agriculture had led to a sharp decline in vegetable exports from South Africa to Botswana, affecting regional food security and economic stability. The lift of this restriction is seen as a positive step towards strengthening intra-Africa trade as Botswana reopens its markets to essential vegetables, benefiting both local consumers and farmers. Moving to safety, European Commission bans Air Tanzania from EU airspace. The European Commission has banned Air Tanzania from operating in EU airspace, citing significant safety deficiencies. The airline has been added to EU air safety list, which includes airlines that fail to meet international safety standards. This move places Air Tanzania among several African carriers banned from flying within the European Union, including airlines from Angola, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Sudan, and Kenya. The ban highlights ongoing concern over safety practices within some international carriers. Moving to entertainment, South African stars TYLA and MUSA join RIAA class of 2024. South African stars TYLA and MUSA have been inducted into the prestigious RIAA class of 2024, receiving platinum and gold certifications for their remarkable achievements. TYLA earned a platinum plaque for her hit single Water, which saw massive success in the US. Her debut album also earned a gold certification, and her track Truth or Dare received a gold plaque. TYLA's success extended to winning multiple Afrobeat categories at the VMAs, BET, and Billboard Music Awards, and making history as the first ever winner of the Grammys African Song Performance category. Meanwhile, MUSA gained his first RIAA Gold certification for his feature on Davido's hit single, Unavailable. The South African duo is part of an impressive group of 67 artists who received RIAA certification in 2024, joining global names like YG Marley and Karol G. Now in sports, Rwanda Summit bids to host Formula 1 Grand Prix. In a historic move, Rwanda has officially submitted an application to host the Formula 1 Grand Prix during the FIA General Assembly in Kigali. The country is now in serious talk to bring F1 to Africa for the first time in over 3 decades. With several African nations expressing interest, Rwanda's bid appears to be advancing more rapidly. 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton has thrown his weight behind Rwanda and South Africa as emerging contenders, stating that the time is right for the continents to host a race. If successful, Rwanda will become the second African country after South Africa to welcome Formula 1. That concludes our African news updates for today. Stay tuned for more African news and developments. Thanks for joining us. I am Oja Orumi Okocha. Connect and engage with us on all our social media handles. Do have a wonderful day.